0. That's how many shells Hitler's most expensive artillery complex ever fired at London. Not one, not even a test shot, just 0. Welcome to the bunker. I'm Professor von Blunder, and today we're diving into the V3 superweapon, Nazi Germany's brilliant plan to bombard London into submission using 5 giant guns that were permanently aimed at England's capital. Forget the V1 flying bombs, forget the V2 rockets. This was old-school artillery cranked up to absolutely ridiculous levels. The idea? Fire a 140-kilogram shell at London every 12 seconds. Forever. Or at least until you ran out of ammunition or someone dropped a bomb down your barrel. The Germans spent a fortune building a massive underground bunker to house these monsters. They poured concrete thick enough to laugh at Allied bombers. They dug shafts deep into the French hillside. They enslaved thousands to make it happen. And in the end, the whole thing was destroyed by 3 bombs, sheer dumb luck, and an open skylight. Let's talk about it. Let's set the stage. It's 1943. Hitler's getting desperate. The Allies are gaining ground. London needs to suffer, but rockets are expensive, and bombers keep getting shot down. So what's a megalomaniac dictator to do? Build the world's most over-engineered artillery gun, obviously. The V3 wasn't just one gun, it was 5 guns. Each one was over 100 meters long. Think of it like a sniper rifle designed by someone with a PhD in mechanical engineering and 0 common sense. But here's where it gets interesting. Normal artillery guns use 1 explosion to launch a shell. Boring. Predictable. The V3 used a series of explosive side chambers built along the barrel. As the shell traveled up the tube, each chamber would detonate in sequence, accelerating the projectile faster and faster, until it screamed out at 1,500 meters per second. In military engineering terms, that means they turned a gun into a multi-stage rocket launcher that couldn't move. The shells weighed 140 kilograms each. Not massive, but the plan was volume. 1 shell every 12 seconds. That's 5 shells per minute, 300 per hour, over 7,000 per day. Now, what would you do if you wanted to shell London? Build more bombers? Use actual rockets? Nah. These guys decided to build 5 permanently aimed giant tubes underground and hope nobody noticed. And to make sure the guns survived, they built a bunker so thick that it made medieval castles look like garden sheds. This was going to be unstoppable, or so they thought. Construction on the V3 bunker started in late 1943 near Mimoyex in northern France. The location was perfect, close enough to London, deep enough to hide, and the French resistance noticed immediately. By November 1944, they'd tipped off the Allies, and the bombing raids began. The British threw everything they had at it. Conventional bombs? Bounced off. The concrete walls were so thick that impenetrable barely covered it. In tactical terms, that means the engineers poured so much concrete that the bunker could probably survive a meteor strike. The Allies escalated. They brought in the tallboy bombs. These were 5,400 kilogram bunker-busting monsters designed specifically to crack fortifications. They dropped dozens of them. The bunker laughed. Not a scratch. Month after month, the Allies bombed. Month after month, the bunker stood. Meanwhile, inside, the Germans were installing the guns, laying rail lines for ammunition, preparing for test firing. Everything was on schedule. The British were panicking. Intelligence reports showed the bunker was nearly complete. If the V3 became operational, London would be pounded day and night with no way to stop it. The guns couldn't be moved. The bunker couldn't be destroyed. So you've got a fortress that won't break and a weapon that won't miss. What could possibly go wrong? Well, it turns out that even the most over-engineered bunker in history has one tiny vulnerability. You have to open the roof to actually use the guns. And on July 6, 1944, someone forgot to check the weather forecast, or the bombing schedule, or basic common sense. July 6, 1944. The V3 bunker is nearly finished. The guns are almost ready for test firing. The concrete domes covering the gun shafts are open because the crews are making final preparations. And overhead, an Allied bombing raid is inbound. The Allies have no idea the shafts are uncovered. They're just doing another routine bunker-busting run, hoping to chip the paint. 3 tallboy bombs fall, and by sheer dumb luck, all 3 drop directly down the open gun shafts and explode inside the bunker. Boom! The guns are wrecked. Dozens of slave laborers are killed instantly. The bunker suffers catastrophic internal damage, and the Allies have no idea they just won. They keep bombing, they keep planning, and then someone has a truly stupid idea. Project Aphrodite. Here's the plan. Pack a B-17 bomber with 10 tons of explosives. Fly it toward the target with a 2-man crew. When you get close, bail out. Then a second B-17 uses a radio control stick and a TV system to guide the exploding plane into the bunker. In plain English, that means they duct-taped a remote control to a flying bomb and prayed. Timmy, of course, volunteered. Well, I volunteered. He climbed into the bomber, flew toward France, and bailed out over the channel. His parachute was a prototype. It opened backwards. Project Aphrodite failed every single time, missed the bunker, crashed into fields. One bomber killed Joseph Kennedy Jr., JFK's brother. The Germans abandoned the site in August. The British captured it and dynamited the guns in May 1945, just to make sure the French didn't get any ideas. So let's tally up the V3 on the official Professor von Blunder stupidity meter. Money wasted, massive underground bunker, 5 giant guns, years of construction, thousands of enslaved workers, all for a weapon that fired 0 shells. That's a 10 out of 10. Enemies killed? 0. The V3 never fired a single shot in anger. That's a 0 out of 10. Collateral damage to Timmy? He bailed out of a bomber packed with 10 tons of explosives using a parachute that opened backwards and landed somewhere in the French countryside. That's an 8 out of 10. Overall, stupidity score 18 out of 30. Not the worst we've seen, but still monumentally dumb. The V3 was destroyed by 3 bombs, an open roof, and sheer bad luck. If you had the resources of Nazi Germany in 1944, what stupid superweapon would you build? Let me know in the comments. And someone please check on Timmy. I think he's still tangled in a tree outside Paris.